The Cuphead Show Season 2, Every New Boss Ranked. With Season 2 of the Cuphead Show recently being released, it brought a lot of new bosses from the game into the show. Whilst they didn't all contribute to the wider arc of the story of the devil and his plot to take Cuphead's soul, and then later on to retrieve the pitchfork, there were multiple new bosses from the Cuphead game that we've not seen in the show before. These were included in the smaller arcs. So with that, I thought I'd rank each of the bosses from worst to best. So let's get into it. Here is the Cuphead Show Season 2, Every New Boss Ranked. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Before I start, this is a ranking that contains only new bosses in the Cuphead Show. I've left King Dice, the Devil, and Henchman out as they were included in the Season 1 ranking. Number 10, the Birnbaum Quadruplets. Coming in 10th place on this list is the boss that appeared in episode 9 of the show titled Dead Berg. The Birnbaum Quadruplets were released from a painting after Miss Chalice entered the haunted house, which then led them to try and get Miss Chalice, Cuphead, and Mugman stuck inside of the very frame that they were imprisoned in for 100 years. I thought their inclusion was good, but I didn't feel I got to learn that much about them. They were frightening in terms of design, but they were a stereotypical ghost. Not too haunting, but they embodied the nose of what would have been seen on a vulture, with other bird-like features. With it being 4 of them, they operated as a collective, so it was quite hard to gauge any real personality from them. Number 9, Sally Stageplay. Sally Stageplay appeared in the same episode as the Quadruplets, but slightly earlier on. We didn't see her have a real speaking role in the episode, or that large of an involvement, but we saw her exhibit behaviours that we see in the Cuphead game. She had the same appearance and we got to see her in her theatre, the place where you battle her in the game. I think it shows signs that we will get to see her in the next season of the show, but with a larger involvement, which is something I'd be looking forward to seeing. Number 8, Hilda Berg. Hilda Berg is another character that didn't have a large inclusion at all, and could well have had the least amount of screen time out of any character in the entirety of this ranking. We got a glimpse of Hilda Berg in her most recognizable form floating in the sky when the brothers and Miss Chalice were riding in their vehicle in episode 2 of the show. She looked exactly how she looked in the game, and despite not having any lines, she's an iconic villain, if not one of the most iconic villains in the game, and it was great to see her on screen for the first time. I think this is hinting at an inclusion in Season 3 of the show, something I really hope we do get. Number 7, Captain Brineybeard. Captain Brineybeard appeared in the 3rd episode of the show, and it was the longest episode that we've ever had in the Cuphead Show. With the episode titled A High Seas Adventure, it certainly was. We got to see Brineybeard's personality to its fullest and the true embodiment of a pirate. We didn't see his octopus that he uses in the game, but we did see him lift up his eye patch and show that he does have an eye underneath. We also got to see his connection to the aquatic creatures. He was a boss that was actually on the side of Cuphead and Mugman in the show, which made it quite different. His personality was extremely funny and he provided comic relief in the show, something not all bosses do. His love for Cala Maria and the lack of knowing when to give up was extremely funny. He was a great inclusion in the show. Number 6, Bowlboy. Coming in at number 6, we had Bowlboy. I was a huge fan of Bowlboy in this episode. We got to see the crazy, chaotic nature of the character and his obsessiveness with the brothers, but more specifically Cuphead. His yearning to be Cuphead's brother and the line about having something up his sleeve was haunting. The creators did a great job with this character in making him one of the scariest bosses that there was. The facial expressions and tone of voice really added to that too. Even in the closing moments of this episode when you thought the brothers were free, we saw him slowly approach both Cuphead and Mugman whilst they're in a vulnerable position, showing just how crazy he was. Number 5, Ludwig. Ludwig was a character that it was only after watching the show I feel I appreciated how good of an inclusion the character was. He wasn't menacing, nor was he really even a threat to both Cuphead or Mugman, but rather the opposite. We saw him be threatened by Cuphead's ability to play the piano, and he stole his piece of music to play in a competition where he ended up winning, so there was never really anything dangerous at stake, not like we see with the others. I thought the voice of this character was spot on. The resemblance to King Dice in appearance I thought was quite funny, and also the mannerisms that the character embodied resembled that of a music snob. Again, it tied into the lack of a threat that he was, and the harmless nature of him, but I found him quite refreshing when on screen and rather funny as well. Number 4, the Ice Cream Man. Now this was a boss that I thought was great. The lack of awareness that this character had for the annoyance that it bestowed upon others was hilarious to see. He started the episode as an innocent individual, then turned into an annoying one, then adopted a psychotic nature, and then went back to being an annoying character, providing a full circle of development. The repetitive nature of this character's traits and the way that it was written into the show was perfect. The drastic change in moods from happy and cheerful to vengeful and psychotic was hilarious to see on screen, and it really made the character great, especially considering deep down all he wanted to do was say thank you to Mugman. It was a definite favourite of mine. Number 3. Cala Maria. Coming in at number 3 is none other than Cala Maria. Appearing in the extended episode which contained Captain Brineybeard, we saw her as the love interest and also the biggest threat to the characters. We saw her embody the same appearance that she had in the game to what she did in the show, including the different phases that we see. We didn't see her utilize all of her powers like we saw in the game, but we did see her have her vision that has the ability to turn an individual into stone. Although there was a slight difference in the way that the vision looked, I thought she was definitely one of the better bosses in the show. We got to understand her personality, saw why she was like the way that she was, and it really leaned into the element of her being a siren, which is something I thought was good. Number 2. Baroness Von Bon Bon. The second best boss and villain in Season 2 of the Cuphead Show was Baroness Von Bon Bon. Seeing Sugarland on screen was good to see, and also hearing about the curse that she's under which prevented her from leaving was also interesting to hear about. We got to see why she's like the way that she is, and the split personalities that she held. That of a kind nature, but also that of a nature where she was prepared to eat the brothers for doing wrong. We saw the powers that she exhibited, such as activating Whippet Cream Pup, and also the ability to turn both Cuphead and Mugman into sweet treats, which is something that we don't see within the game. Just like the reasons that have made some of these villains towards the top end of this ranking on this list, like Cala Maria and the Ice Cream Man, going from soft to kind to absolutely insane is another reason that contributed to Baroness Von Bon Bon being so good. She's an iconic villain in the game, and it was good to see her on screen. Number 1. Werner Werman. Coming in at number 1 on this list, and the boss that I thought was the best in the show, was Werner Werman. I liked Werner for a number of different reasons. I liked the fact that the boss entering the cottage was just a random mistake purely by leaving the door open, and it leading to the catastrophic level of destruction that we saw at the end of the episode was hilarious. Werner didn't take himself too seriously, and we got to see something different with him compared to the others. You don't have to be large or menacing in order to cause some damage. Werner is an intelligent engineer and builds everything that he uses against the brothers, and I also thought the Tom and Jerry nature of the episode was well suited to what we were seeing unfold. There was also a strong sense of comedic nature in the closing moments where he was defeated and it turned out that he wasn't actually German and he was just putting on an accent. He definitely deserves to be number 1 for multiple reasons. All of the new bosses in Season 2 were great to see on screen in the form of the show. They all contained elements of what makes them who they are in the game, but with more screen time, a voice, and time to show off, it allowed us to connect with them even more. I'm looking forward to seeing which new villains and bosses we'll get to see in Season 3 of the show. So, there you have it, the Cuphead Show Season 2, every new boss ranked. If you want to see more videos on the Cuphead Show, such as a review of Season 1 or Season 2, theories and predictions on Season 3, or character breakdowns, then click on the I button. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you want to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @brainpilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. Who was your favourite boss in Season 2? Leave a comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.